When I was a kid, my dad used to take me to all different types of events. He'd take me to baseball games, to monster truck rallies, he'd take me to wrestling matches. And while I loved those events, one of the things that I really liked was that after these events would happen, my dad would take me to the place where these, athletes and these celebrities would be signing autographs. And most of the time what they would do is they just write their name and move on to the next person. But sometimes they would make it personalized. They would say to Joel from, say, Jim Thome, who's a famous baseball player that I got his autograph from. And I got to tell you, to have something personalized versus having just their name scribbled on a piece of paper makes all the difference in the world. And that is the idea that I want to focus on as we look at Psalm 144 here this morning. We're just going to look at two verses, in verses 2 and 3. King David says this. He says, "He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield in whom I take refuge, who subdues peoples under me. Lord, what are human beings that you care for them? Mere mortals that you think of them." And so one of the first things that I want to point us to is the fact that King David is calling God my God. And he's saying he's my deliverer and my fortress. Now, what's interesting about that is that we know that God is not just King David's God, he is the God of Israel. And but that's not what he's doing here. He's focusing more on the fact that not only is God the God of Israel, but he is personal. He wants to have a relationship with David, and David wants to have a relationship with him. And I think sometimes what we can do is we can kind of look at God in three different senses. One, that he's the God of the universe. Yeah, that's true. He's the creator, almighty being, right? But then he's also the God of Israel. And for us who are Christians, he's the God of all who are under his covenant and who believe and trust in him. But last but not least, which I think we spend a lot of time on too, is the concept of God is my God, that he wants to have a personal relationship with us. And that should blow our minds. And that is what David points out here as well. In verse 3, he says, "Lord, what are human beings that you care for them? Mere mortals that you think of them." So you mean to tell me that the God of the universe, who created sun, moon, stars, and he created galaxies on the other side of the universe that we will never see nor understand, that God knit me together in my mother's womb, and he wants to have a personal relationship with me where I call upon him not only as God, but my God, that God takes time to think of me. You look back and you remember about Psalm 139, about God thinks of us. His mind dwells on us. What a beautiful and amazing truth. And that's what I hope to have shared with you this morning. I want to share a quick story as I close here. This past Christmas, we gave our kids a unique gift. My kids like to watch TV, as most kids do, and one of the things that they like to watch is YouTube. And on YouTube, there's all these different YouTube families and YouTubers. And there's this one particular family that they like to watch because they're silly and entertaining and things of that nature. And we decided to get our kids a Cameo from that family. If you don't know what a Cameo is an app where basically you can, for a certain price, be able to have a celebrity or famous person or an athlete be able to send you a personal greeting. You see, if you had a famous person just kind of send a general greeting to everybody, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's awesome. But if you hear that person say your name, it makes all the difference in the world. For instance, when we sent we got this Cameo for our kids from this YouTube family, they said Noah's name by name, and they said Avalyn's name by name. And I gotta tell you, that lit them up. Is that it wasn't a general message to them, it was a personal message to them. And that made all the difference in the world. And in much of the same way, God does not write just to us a general message, but he writes a personal message to each and every one of us, that he loves us, that he died for us, and he desires to have a relationship with us, not only as the human beings as a whole, as he says that human beings, what do you care for them, but also as David views it as my God, my fortress, my shield, that he wants to have a personal relationship with us as well. So I hope you dwell on these wonderful truths this morning, that not only is God God, and not only is he our God, but that he can be my God and your God, that he wants to know us personally, deeply, and individually. Hope this blessed you this morning. Have a blessed day.